This is the Parra podcast, proudly brought to you by major sponsor Jack's Pale Ale, exclusively available at Parramatta Leagues Club, Shannon Cooney from Glenmore Park Realty, Bo Cook from Loan Market, BTZD, the official apparel partner of the Parra podcast, and the Parramatta Times, the official media partner of the Parra podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Parra podcast. And now over to your host, Troy Warner, broadcasting live from the world-famous Parra Cave.
And yes, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Parra podcast. Troy Warner here, and it is game day in the NRL. It is round 25, certainly getting down to that business end of the season. And this is the game day preview for the game tonight at Commbank Stadium between the Eels and the Roosters, the last home game for the Eels this season. A do-or-die game for both clubs. And you could probably say that the loser can say goodbye to season 2023. Now, this preview was done with the guys at Rooster Mania TV. Now, you can find them on Instagram and Facebook as well. I really appreciate they invited me on to their show, so I really appreciate the invite to give a Parramatta perspective, and obviously you guys gave the Roosters perspective as well, but you also talked about Parramatta as well, and a few other questions as well. So if you're a Roosters fan, give them a follow on Instagram and also Facebook as well. Even if you're a rugby league fan and you want to follow another club on socials, just give them a follow as well. Some interesting content there. And this is the game day preview. So I'll hand it over to them now. Enjoy and go Parra.
Parramatta podcast. Did I get that right, Troy?
Yeah, mate. Parra Cave podcast.
Okay,
Close enough. It's okay.
Welcome, mate.
Thank you very much.
Rooster Mania TV.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for having me. The opposition on tonight, but really love talking to the opposition fans and getting their thoughts about the game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, we're going to be in a busy type of hour because the Matildas are about to kick off their World Cup against the Poms, so that'll be interesting. But we're all here for rugby league. So. We're going to just talk about what happened last week with the Roosters, and then we'll talk about what happened last week with Parramatta, if that's okay with you, Troy.
Yeah, mate, sounds good.
And we'll throw your opinion about the Roosters, and you throw your opinion about Parramatta, and we'll go from there, all right?
Sounds good to me.
Last week, Roosters versus the Dolphins at Allianz Stadium, and the Roosters found their groove in the second half. Xavier, what are your thoughts on that game?
In all honesty, Drew Hutchinson really impressed me. We've been struggling with halfback positions, all that, and Drew Hutchinson just nailed it yesterday. That second half, he was all over that second half. We were moving the ball around in the right places. Nat Butcher had a really good run before Suaalii scored a brilliant try. We were just connecting our dots together. It felt so good to see the boys play that way.
Yeah, I agree. It looked like a very solid performance from the Roosters. I thought they would be sloppy in that first half, but they just picked up and left and went on with the job, which was actually good. Benny, your initial thoughts, mate, on the Roosters and Dolphins game, mate?
Yeah, I think it was a great performance in the second half by our guys. It's the first time we've come back from like that at halftime. I think. Overall it was a really good game. It's the Roosters of old, a lot of working dynamics, but the way that it was supposed to. Obviously, it was Old Boys weekend as well, so it was great to see a lot of the old fellas there cheering the boys on as they run out. So, it would have been great to see that sort of calibre of football a few more times this year. It would have made the anxiety and stress a little bit lower, but overall, if that's the way we're going for the next few rounds, it's a good way to finish the year.
couldn't agree more, Benny. I mean, yeah, it's been one stressful season. Troy, no, you're not obviously with the Roosters, but you obviously watch rugby league through the weekend. What are your thoughts on the Chooks, mate, going up against the Dolphins?
Well, they obviously wanted to get one back as the Dolphins got them in round one, but it's always... Teams are funny when they have their old boys' days. They all usually send the tune and they like to perform in front of their old boys, and that was no different on the weekend with the Roosters, with their season still on the line, and they needed to get that win, and yeah, they played pretty good, scored some points, and they sort of let the Dolphins back into the game a little bit, but they ended up getting the win in the end.
Yeah, look, Roosters, they're a bit funny in certain ways of what they played, but I thought it was a convincing win. They had that little lapse even against the the Titans up on the Gold Coast. So, yeah, they're a bit funny. But look, a win's a win. Take it, run with it, and that's all I can say. But unfortunately, we're going to talk about the other team, which is Parramatta Eels. They played the Brisbane Red Hot Broncos.
Yeah,
I'm going to give it to you, Troy, because Troy, I know you're a big, long life Parramatta supporter, so I'll get your takes on what the hell happened at the Gabba.
Troy, just before you start, mate.
Yeah.
Troy, sorry, just before you start, to everybody listening at home, Troy is probably one of the most committed rugby league fans that I know. He hasn't. I don't think you've missed a game this year, have you? Like you jump on the road with the boys and fly around everywhere.
This year I've missed a couple. 2018 I actually went to every home and away game.
Yeah. So for the record, for Roosters fans, the comparison person for us who Troy would be Wayne. So he's you'd know who Wayne is, Troy. He holds up the Stewie Griffin victory as our sign at initial pen.
Yep.
Giggity.
For everybody at home, Troy is the Parramatta version of Wayne.
So any questions, guys? Ask Troy anything you want.
Yeah, mate. Fire away.
Even Benny. Fire away, guys. Answer anything. Yeah. Any questions? Throw them away. But Troy, back to you. What happened on the Gabba?
Yeah, look, I don't know. I mean, the first 15, maybe 20 minutes, Parramatta were definitely in it, going toe-to-toe with the Broncos. The Broncos scored a penalty goal early on. Dylan Brown had an opportunity to score a try, but knocked on over the line. So if that was a little bit different, maybe the result could have been different. But I think just our defence in the middle fell apart, and they were finding a lot of gaps up the middle, and also offloads as well killed us. And it usually saw that when the Broncos made a break down one of our edges, there was a lot of tries off kicks as well, mostly infield, and there was about 3-4 Broncos in support trying to get that ball, and 10 out of 10 times they got the ball and scored a try. So look, Mitchell Moses, he didn't play the second half. He actually broke his cheekbone / eye socket in the first 4 to 5 minutes of the game with a head clash with Sean Russell. He played until half time. He wanted to come on the second half. That's how much his commitment is to trying to get the win, but he was advised not to due to the injury. So we missed him in his kicking game as well. Adam Reynolds' kicking game was probably pretty good as well, on point again against us. And then I think we just ended up getting frustrated and making mistakes, and to cap it off, that ball from Bailey Simonson out to what was supposed to be Sean Russell, but ended up in I think it was Herbie Farnworth's hands, and he scored then. That just really capped it off. So a disappointing night all round. Look, I loved going to Brisbane for Brisbane Parramatta games, catch up with other Parramatta fans and other fans of other clubs as well, but this trip wasn't one of the enjoyable ones. For the game, anyway, for the game.
How was it going to a game at the Gabba?
Yeah, look, it was really weird. It was the first time I've been to the Gabba for a sporting event. I've been there years ago when nothing was on, just to have a look at it. But for a sporting event, they had 29,000 there. You were far away from the action, as you guys probably can attest to, playing out of the SCG last year and a couple of times this year. Round fields are probably not the best for rugby league games. They need to be the rectangle fields. So round fields are really hard for spectators anyway. Where I was seated, I was sort of behind the posts, right up, first level, right up the back. And so level 2, the seats come down over the top of level 1. So if a bomb went up, I couldn't see where the ball went until it landed, because I had concrete above me. So being a cricket field. So look, obviously we know why they had to do it, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe they could have went to the old ANZ stadium that they played out of in the 90s, maybe, or yeah, I'm not too sure. But round fields for rugby league is just definitely not the go. But the atmosphere was good. Obviously, the Broncos are flying high at the moment, and the fans are really getting behind their side. And probably one player that they love is Reece Walsh.
Yeah, Reece is unbelievable, man. He's having a superb year. Look, with Parramatta, I think it's very disappointing, because I'm sure BA would have definitely got them up and running for this game. Mitch Moses not getting injured didn't help the cause either, but I just saw a lot of shirt grabbing from Parramatta, like no shoulders in, and it was just so easy for Brisbane. Brisbane just broke.
I think watching a lot of the way that Parramatta played on the weekend, very easily you could have swapped the colours out and put red, white and blue in there, and it'd be a carbon copy for some of the efforts that were put on during the year as well.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that is common. Roosters and Parramatta can't defend when it comes to big games.
Yeah.
Yeah, so look, it was disappointing. It was disappointing from a Parramatta's point of view. But it opens the door for teams like the Roosters, Cowboys. How many teams are in right now for that couple spots in that top 8? You want to check the ladder, Xavier? Just have a look, and I'll throw it out to the fans who are watching. Guys, any questions, please send them through to Xavier, Benny, myself, and Troy, and we'll gladly answer those questions for you. Yeah.
Okay. Let's say Sharks, Raiders, Knights, Rabbitohs, Cowboys, Eels, and Roosters are on a range from 26 to 30 points.
Okay, so 32 would more likely guarantee your top eight based on a good for and against, pretty much.
Yeah.
So Roosters, no time to lose one more game. Otherwise, it's see you later.
It's the same sort of that Parramatta are in the same boat as us this weekend. It's going to be a big match for both of us. It's both our seasons are mathematically on the line. We can either end up in the top 8, or we could be already booking our trip to Bali. So it's going to be everything on the line.
Or LA, Bali or LA. Those are the two places most players go.
Well, I think Bali worked for the Newcastle Knights a few weeks ago, didn't it?
It did.
Look how they're going.
Well, maybe we could send another Roosters player to Parra.
Teddy had one. Yeah, Teddy had a weekend off in Parra. He came back and it's been brilliant. So let's all just go up there. So, Troy, I've got a question for you, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. For both sides, to win on Friday night, for the Roosters, who do you see needs to step up? And for Parramatta, same question, both teams.
I'll start with the easy one first, Parramatta. Look, I think with Mitchell out, I think Dylan Brown needs to step it up. Obviously, he's moved to halfback this week. He's had that 7 weeks off. Last week was his first week back. So I think he really needs to step it up this week. Probably Arcee as well, a little bit. He's struggled in his last couple of games for Parramatta. But yeah, I mean, it's probably only Dylan probably Junior Paolo as well. He's sort of gone off the radar a bit since Origin 3 or 2. He played 2. He missed out on 3. Probably missing his front row partner RCG, I think.
You get him back this week as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Micah and RCG are back, so maybe missing his front row partner and trying to compete against him maybe, so hopefully we see a big game from Junior as well.
Hopefully we don't see a repeat of Sebo and Tedesco's clash back when we went to Commbank in 2020. I can still hear that echo around the ground.
Yeah, I think, what was it, Vossi said someone call an ambulance or something like that, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the Roosters, I think obviously look, Joey Manu is probably one that's really we're gonna have to watch. I think it's probably, I don't know, probably for both teams. There's probably a lot of players just need to step it up, I think, just to, as you said before, season on the line.
Yeah, I agree what you said with Dylan Brown. I think with Mitch being out, that playmaker, that game development and that game strategy really needs to come from the halves. It can't be thrown onto Gutho, which has happened a lot this year. And I think, and again, it's the same issue with the Roosters. Like obviously with Luke being out for a bit this year as well, and with Sam being out, a lot of that game strategy has come from Tedesco. And in between trying to steer the team and then trying to be a fullback, and it's put. It drew a lot out of him, especially with an Origin campaign. And the same comments for Gutho. I think he's got thrust in there. He's missed, the combination there with the 6 and 7 hasn't been solid for you guys as well. And there's been a lot of moments where his attention hasn't been where it needs to be for a game. He's trying to do too much. He's trying to do everything because he thinks it's on him to do it. And again, it's the same thing with Tedesco, how he's tried to do everything for us this year. So,
yeah. I agree. Absolutely. And also, I think this is the first game since the incident happened where Hutchinson and Brown are facing each other again. So there might be a bit of bad blood there.
Yeah,
I know.
Have you noticed Jared? Since Jared's sort of come back from his injury, he's been picking a fight not with just players. He's been picking a fight with every other Kiwi player. So he's been having a go at his own countrymen. So I don't know if that's a pointer for the Pacific Championship at the end of the year or
what. We've got what is it? Bailey Simonson, Dylan Brown, the New Zealanders in Parra side.
Is anyone else that plays for New Zealand?
Just trying to think. I know Makatoa plays for Cook Islands.
Junior Polo plays for
Samoa.
Yeah,
it's probably about it, I'd say. Yeah, it's probably about it, those two, I'd say.
And Penasini, isn't he? No, he's Tongan.
Yeah, he's Tongan, yeah. So.
Yeah, Penasini, yeah.
But
interesting.
Yeah. The interesting part is Simonson and Brown have taken Roosters players out, and Jared remembers those more than anything. Simonson took out Tedesco.
I'll say that Jared's taken out a few Roosters players himself as well. I think there's about 4 or 5 guys that have missed Western.
That must be revenge from Parramatta after what Jared did to Regal Campbell-Gill a few years back when he broke his jaw. Does anyone remember that?
Yeah, that was when he's at the Panthers.
That was at the Panthers.
Yeah, it was too.
Yeah. I think I know the only way you can fully piss off Jared is if you yell something like, Tedesco's been concussed, and he'll just come out raging. He's done it before, and if someone gets hurt in this game, he's going to do it again.
Maybe someone will throw the spray the water.
I think it's going to be a very fiery match.
Maybe someone will spray the water bottle at Jared.
Parra and the Roosters always seem to have a fierce battle because I don't know, something's brewing with that matchup. But you know what? It's got something to live up to this week on Friday.
Yeah.
Parramatta playing for their season, Roosters playing for their season. Parramatta want to prove a point after having a diabolical match with the Broncos. The only problem with Parra is they haven't got their general halfback with them. It's a big loss. It's huge.
Yeah.
But then again, if Drew Hutchinson wants to throw nice cutout passes to Parramatta to score, no problem. I mean,
We'll take
he's
it.
got those specific qualities.
Yeah.
So it can happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But,
We'll see how we go.
But it'll be a great spectacle. Any of you boys are rocking up to, was it Commbank? Commbank Stadium? Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
take on. Hopefully we'll be there.
Troy's probably camping out there right now as we speak. He's just ready to get
Yeah, no, if I wasn't here at home, I'd be at Commbank actually tonight for the live site for the Matildas game. But no, I'll be there definitely. Australia's best rectangular stadium, so I'll be there for sure.
Yeah, it is. I'd say it's the second best. The best, obviously, being Allianz. But it is a beautiful. Commbank is a great spot to watch football.
Well, I went there when we played you guys in the first round, and I didn't really get excited about Allianz. It sort of reminded me of the old SFS.
That's good. That's what it's about. It's about that history and tradition. You know, like we've got 117 years of it. So
Yeah. And I don't care what South Sydney say, it's not theirs. They're never going to have it.
No.
I'm outraged, mate. I'm outraged that you call it the old Allianz, mate. I miss the old Parramatta Hill where you used to get a sausage.
Yeah, true. And used to fight for the ball after a goal kick.
Perfect Stadium. The first player, when I went around the back, just you walk around it, it's a weird stadium, old Pertec. And I remember two players were running late and they came with a pickup vehicle. It was Tapa Maroa and Semi Raja. And everyone came like a pack of ants at Semi Raja. And I go, why the hell are you going all to Semi Raja? Tapa Maroa's a star, mate. And he starts laughing. And everyone just goes, what are you on about, mate? I was like, mate, don't even respect him. So what's your deal, mate? Semi's like, I'm going to go. The coach is going to kill me. He's like, fool, trying to talk to them. But, nah, you know what? I've got to say, Parramatta, obviously, Commbank's unbelievable. It's a great stadium. Is it better than Allianz? I'd say no, because Allianz is on roids. That's how. But
Well, it only holds 20-something more thousand than Commbank, so it's not that much bigger.
Also, guys, the match officials have been named. It's Ashley Klein, and in the bunker, that incompetent piece of shit, Grant Atkins.
Oh no, Grant's good quality.
I don't think either like Parramatta either, to be honest.
Yeah, did you guys see that thing in the Sunday Telegraph a couple of weeks ago? I think it was last weekend. Which clubs do better under which refs?
Yeah, I sort of saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. They broke down like which clubs win more under certain refs, who gets more 6 agains, who concedes more 6 agains. It was. I'm pretty sure I've still got it kicking around. I'll scan it and I'll put it up. But it was an interesting little bit of. It dispels a few things. We like Grant. Grant does well with us.
Grant Atkins.
So you might get a few favourable decisions in the box.
No surprise, Ashley Klein isn't. Yeah.
Let's see. Nathan Brown's number 22. Ashley Klein is so lucky that Nathan Brown's on the extended bench, not the starting 17. After that bullshit call against Manly, I would never want to ref a Roosters game again if I was Ashley Klein.
Yeah, I thought Brownie was a bit hard done by in that game against Manly, but yeah.
You know what? Speaking of Nathan Brown, I could talk to someone that actually knows the club better than anybody in here. Troy, what were your thoughts on Nathan Brown? Why was he let go by Parramatta?
I've heard all sorts of things. Didn't get on with the coaching team. I've heard that he wanted to get a bigger contract at Parramatta, and they've said that if you can, or if you want to, then by all means do it. I'm not really sure. I think injuries played a part as well, because he had a few injuries as well, and you really want to get like 20 plus games out of first grade players every year. So it's disappointing how it ended because for a few years there he was sort of the man at Parramatta. He made his Origin debut at Parramatta. Matured a lot there as well.
He was your enforcer as well at one stage.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I remember watching games at Commbank and line dropouts. He'd be like on the 50-metre line or the 40-metre line waiting to receive that dropout from the opposition and just wind up and just off the back fence just take off. And there was usually no steps involved. It was just straight into the defence. And as I said, he had a couple of good years there and just fell out towards the end.
Well, nothing's changed at the Roosters, even that we're playing not the best football. Nathan Brown, I think, has been a standout for us. I think he's been playing exceptional. He's been aggressive, runs hard.
A great buy. An absolute great pickup for us. And he's got that bit of mongrel, that bit of grit that we were planning to lose with Jared, who everybody thought this was Jared's last year, but he's tack on for another one, which will be great because if he doesn't get injured, doesn't get suspended as much, he should become the most capped Roosters player mid-season next year. But yeah, Brownie's been a great little addition to the team and has that little bit of fire that comes in on either at the 30th or 60th minute. It's been brilliant for us.
I can tell Xavier's going to tear up because Mitch Orbison's the highest, and when Jared takes over, it's going to really...
In all honesty, Jared does deserve it. He's been with us game in, game out. He's had to make a lot of sacrifices when it comes to pay cuts, suspensions, fines. He's the guy you need on the field. He's the guy that has your back when you get hurt. I still remember the first time I truly saw this was when Jake Friend got kneed by Pangai. Jared was following Adam G for like 5 minutes until they reviewed it. Like, that's the type of guy you need on your team. And for Jared to break the record, he deserves it.
And I think a lot of rival fans don't understand about Jared. Like, he's a grub. He doesn't play the spirit of the game. But name me a player who doesn't play the spirit of the game. Like, everyone goes out there to win. They're just winners. You know what I mean? Parramatta must have an enforcer. If they don't have an enforcer that goes leaps and bounds, they must have had back in the day or a couple seasons ago. Like, I think Manu Mao was an absolute lunatic when he was playing for you guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He's one player that comes to mind at Parramatta. For us, Jared's been our rock for a good decade now. And, man, I'm glad we've got him. And if you don't have a player like him that doesn't put intimidation into your forward pack, then, mate, you know that you can go through that forward pack easy. That's why it's hard to beat the Roosters. Not saying like this year, but I'm saying for many years, Roosters have dominated, and we can actually say that. So it's been a tough battle for us this year, but, man, Jared's been a standout, and there's been a certain amount of little players in our team that have actually put their hand up and rolled their sleeves and, done the job. Yeah. I've got another question for you, Troy. He used to play for us. We actually gave him his first opportunity when he was actually with you guys, but then he lost his way into the system. Ryan Matterson, what is going on? Why has he been rotated up and down the squad, like second row, prop, bench? Like, I don't get it. What's going on with that?
Yeah, I can't really answer that, to be honest. I think we saw sort of last year, whilst we were playing, good football, he was off the bench and made an impact in the game. I probably would have had him starting this week in the second row and moved Jermaine back to lock. But Brad's gone another way. But, yeah, look, I think they're just trying to find some sort of formula. I think Brad's going back to what worked last year, but it's obviously not working this year as it was effectively last year. So, yeah, I don't know, because you can see that he does have an impact sometimes when he comes on off that bench. And in a couple of those games where he has come off the bench, he has been one of the top players, even though we've lost the games and lost them badly. So I think Brad's probably using him as a bit of an impact player, and then maybe just bring him on to tighten up the defence a little bit as well, because we know he's a good defender, even though there wasn't any last week.
Yeah, fair enough. I want to just say how good, and he's my favourite player outside the Roosters for Parramatta, Jermaine Hopgood, what a signing. What a player. He's been unbelievable for you guys, especially losing Nathan Brown.
Yeah, for sure. He's filled that lock role perfectly. He was on the cusp of Origin this year. No doubt he'll get another look in next year, but I think it's probably just what he learnt at Penrith, and he's brought that across to Parramatta. And look, sometimes he can get frustrated himself and throw that offload that you think, why did you throw that? But that's just the competitor that he is, and 9 times out of 10 it does work, but there is that odd occasion where it doesn't. But yeah, no, you're right. He'd probably have to be right up there with one of the players of the year for Parramatta.
Yeah. So, guys, what are we thinking this Friday? Who's going? Obviously, we're going to be biased, but what's your score predictions, Xavier? Because you've been a bit quiet up there. What's your score prediction for Roosters and Parramatta?
Roosters 28, Parramatta 14.
Troy, your defence ain't looking good, mate, if that's the case. You hope not.
Yeah, no, I hope not.
I think it's going to be a lot lower. I think I'm going to say like either 8-6 or like 12-8. And I'd obviously go the Roosters. I think it's going to be quite a arm wrestle of a match. If you go back to, I think, 2017, 2018, that Bulldogs game where it was like 4-0, as Robbo described it as one for the purist, I think that's where we're heading for this one. I think both teams are going to play very conservatively and consolidate their defence. And I don't think there's going to be much showboating from either side of trying to play fantastic, razzmatazz type football. They're just going to run it up the middle, play by the numbers, and I think a margin of 4-6.
No worries. That's actually good. Troy, obviously Parramatta. What are your thoughts? What do you think the score will be?
Yeah, look, I've been a bit outrageous with my score prediction. I thought about 32-20. But it could be one of those games, as Benny said. There's not a lot of points scored because I think both teams will just want to get the 2 points. The Roosters for and against is shot at the moment, so it could be a good thing that they're playing Parramatta because they might be able to improve that massively. But B, at this time of year and do or die game, they'll probably just want to get the win anyway. So it could be one of.
It's okay, Troy. We've got West Tigers next week. You
could double it. You could get into the positives. So I think it could be just one of those games where both teams will just want to try and get the win, and we might see every opportunity for points like goal kicks. They'll probably take them, and for both teams, they just want to get that win. So hopefully not.
Right,
hopefully it's lots of points.
That's what you'd hope. But you're going to give me a heart attack, honestly. My score prediction, I'll say 17-10. Drew Hutchinson kicks a field goal. No. I'll go.
I forgot to add mine. Drew Hutchinson sends Dylan Brown off for a HIA.
Oh God!
Back for 2021.
But then that could be a bit of an act of foul play. So then he might get 10 in the bin as well. So yeah, I'll go with that then. Yeah, we'll get.
Hey, you don't know. We've got Ashley Klein. No, you're off. See you later. Off.
Yeah. And then Grant Atkins will be like, oh, wait, Drew Hutchinson lifted his fist up a bit. We think he's going for a punch. We have a decision.
Well, I think
Victor Radley's looked at the ball. That's 10 in the bin and 4 weeks on the bench.
Well, I think when Ashley sends someone to the sin bin, I think it's only about 9 minutes because he tends to have that little pinky finger down. And...
He does, doesn't he? That's 9.5.
Yeah.
Go, Benny.
Yeah, I was just going to ask Troy a question. Obviously, the news broke earlier this week that the Roosters are going to join the Manly Sea Eagles, Brisbane Broncos, and that mob across the Anzac Parade in Las Vegas. What's your thought? Ignoring the 4 clubs that are going, Troy. What's your take on the game going to Vegas next year?
Oh, look, it's exciting, that's for sure. It's going to bring in a whole new audience to the game. Obviously, there's a few rugby league fans over in the US. We all know why they're going over there, as part of the reason is to earn money from it, which you can't blame them, especially after the last few years. But look, I think there are rugby league competitions over there, so hopefully that'll increase participation over there and more eyes on rugby league and more eyes watching the game back in Australia, not just this double header. So, look, it's been there, 1987 for the State of Origin. A long time ago now. I think New Zealand and Tonga, I think, played a test match over in Denver. So it's been there a couple of times. So yeah, it should be exciting.
It's you would have seen in the crowds over the last few weeks. Obviously, Exercise Talisman Saber's been on, which is a very large joint war game between the Australian Defence Force and traditionally the US military, but now it's expanded to include a lot of our regional partners. Back in my day in uniform, I used to be involved in it, and we'd always take the Yanks to Suncorp for a game, and they could not believe how brutal rugby league is, and the fact that we don't have helmets and padding.
Yeah.
So there is, as Troy was saying, there is a bit of an appetite for it in the States. I've been a bit on the fence of taking the game there, because I think there's a lot of other places we should be investing our money in before taking a game to the US. But at the same time, we won't know if it's a success or not until we do it. So I know that a lot of the US military who have done anything with Aussies over the last probably 20 years with the war in Afghanistan and with exercises know how mental we are when it comes to our sport. So if they think it's rough and they want to get along to watch it, that's awesome.
Yeah. There's actually a famous Rooster fan in the US that's very excited about this match happening. Current WWE superstar Grayson Waller, who is a Rooster supporter.
Well, Shannon Hegarty, one of Rooster's greats. He lived in Miami for about 10, 15 years and ran a couple of...
Owned the gym.
Yeah. So he went over to the Gold Coast on steroids and and lived it up a bit. But he's back here now, I think.
So you guys...
I think COVID affected his business. That's why he's back in Australia.
Are you guys going to pull together and take the show over there for the round 1 next year, or do the show from Vegas? Or?
Theo will ask if I've got the private jet ready to go. It's fueled. It's ready to go.
Awesome. Can't wait.
I know this. I already know. Yeah.
Zaza, honestly, you need to be sponsored by Pepsi. Honestly, just fucking get sponsorship on us, please.
That's it. You want to get on that bandwagon.
Yeah.
What was I going to say, guys? Prediction on tonight's game for the Matildas, who have been on a bit of a roll in the World Cup. Has anyone been watching? Anyone been having eyes on, or not really?
No, I'm a league boy.
I really hope the Matildas win.
Not a fan.
I watched Monday night's game and I watched Saturday night's game just gone, and I'm not much of a soccer fan myself, but I'm a national sports fan, so yeah, let's hope they can get up tonight and get into that final on Sunday, and after this I'll be jumping on and watching it for sure.
Any special guests so we can tune in for your podcast? Any former players coming in, or that's for us to find out later?
Coming out tomorrow, Peter Johnston, the Hitman, former Parramatta and Illawarra Steeler and South Sydney Rabbitoh. Great chat with him, some great stories there, and one actual little story was about NFL as well, so a little interesting tidbit about that one. So, so hopefully his interview will come out tomorrow. Hoping to chat with a couple other people lined up as well, so just have to wait.
How was your chat with Felipe Mateo? I was a big fan of him back in his day at Parramatta.
Yeah, good. Yeah, same. I was a massive fan as well, and really interesting about his career at Parramatta and obviously the Warriors, and later on at Manly as well. But yeah, some interesting insights from a Parramatta perspective and also a Warriors perspective as well, about how they're going now. And he's doing some great things over at the Tigers now in cultural space and junior pathways.
Very nice. Very nice.
So,
Well,
to
good
any
insight there.
to all our Roosters fans listening, if you are about the game and you just want to sit back and listen to some awesome footy talk, tune into Troy's podcasts every week. They it takes you down memory lane. Whether you go for Parramatta or not, you hear these names, you hear these stories, and it's a different perspective on the game. We all grew up with it. So to hear these guys, it really is a wonderful listen. So do yourself a favour, jump onto his podcast and have a listen.
Thanks for that. Really appreciate that. And whilst I am a Parramatta fan and try to get as many Parramatta players on as possible, I also do interview other players from other clubs as well. So because I just love this great game of rugby league. So it's not so much Parramatta, but it's also other clubs as well. And other fans.
I'm happy to talk. Yeah, I'll always be happy to talk and help out other clubs, except for that one that's on the other side of Anzac Parade.
Yeah, the one that wears certain colours. And
the colours that I wear on the weekend, but I'm not at Roosters games too. Up to your minor bunnies.
Well, guys, we'll wrap it up from here. Troy, I want to say thank you very much for popping up on a special guest today. It was a pleasure meeting you. Good luck this week. Good luck to us. It's going to be an interesting matchup. And, we'll do it all again next week, guys, for Rooster Mania TV. Troy, thank you again. Appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you very much for having me. Enjoy the game and go Parra.
Go the Roosters.
Yeah. Go Roosters.
Go Parra.
Go football.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Parra Cave Podcast. See you next time.